All right, in this video, we're going to go over our inventory management, and we'll touch base on taxonomy, catalog, tags, setting up quick items, custom items, adding items, removing them, editing them, and kind of the differences between things. So to start, we have a couple of different filters. We can search by title, artist, or both. We can go by department, and we can go by taxonomy. So taxonomy and department are different, which we'll touch on in a little while. We can show the max results, because obviously if you have millions of items, you don't want to try to display all items at once. So you want to try to narrow down what it is that you're searching for. And let's see. Yeah, we can choose whether it's in stock. So let's, and when we say in stock, that just means, so like if you've had it in your inventory before and its quantity is 0, it will list here. There might be something in a catalog that you don't have, which we'll take a look at the catalog in a minute. We'll compare it to, so my inventory of Pokemon, nothing in stock, so we can see everything that has been there at some point. And we can see a bunch of information. So I have 55 different items that would have been Pokemon, and let's sort them by quantity. So here we go, I've got 22 of these. We can see the original UPC, so this would be the UPC that's on the back or front or wherever your UPC is located. We can see our department, the configuration of that department, and our taxonomy, which if we, in this case, we see it's music CDs, CD, which we'll talk about in a minute. We see the MSRP value for that item, if there's any identifiers. This is like special information, primarily mostly used for vinyl and music related stuff. It'll list catalog ID numbers and stuff like that for items that might share an original UPC to help identify it separately. We have our marketing tags. This would be like if you're doing Pokemon stuff, you might do a Pokemon tag or a Mario tag, things like that, and you can add them here too. So I'll just say this one is Pokemon. And so we're going to focus on this item. So I'm going to go ahead and just filter this out so we don't have to look at anything else from the noise. And if we open up this drop down right here, we can see all the individual SKUs related to these different pairs of, whether it be condition and sell price or cost. And we can see condition tags as well. So condition tags are different than marketing tags. So condition tags are like, let's see, damaged cover. These are to talk about the condition of it, and marketing tags are to talk about what it comes from or how to organize it. I don't have any comments here. We can edit the individual SKUs here. So if you're editing a SKU, so you're just editing the price or cost of a single item, it does not affect the catalog as a whole. But if we open up the UPC data, we can affect the actual catalog item and sync it to the inventory. So let's edit this, and let's change, we'll change some values here. Base price of $10, config, keep it CD, and let's go ahead and update that. And that's synced, and let's see if it makes changes. So we can see it updated all the prices. Everything's now $10.99 because we have a rounding variable to go up to the 99 cent for the rounding. So I put that base price as $10, so $10.99 is what it goes up to. All right, then obviously, if we need to delete things, we can just hit delete here. It'll ask us to verify that delete. We can then edit items. So this is editing the actual individual SKU and not the item as a whole. So something to note in here is a couple of different things. Is there's the override price. If we override the price, this is basically saying that you won't get price updates for this item, for this particular SKU. So as price updates come in from our master system, from the catalog, this item in particular will not get those updates. We can adjust images eventually. That's coming soon. We're not ready for that right now. If there are e-commerce information about this item, we can go up here to the top and click on e-commerce. So if there's any e-commerce tags, so we can add an e-commerce channel, and we can pick from the channels that we're integrated with. Right now, WooCommerce is a big one. I believe we are also with eBay, Discogs, and then you can just select one of those, hit add new, and then we can actually see the specific information for that e-commerce channel. We'll go over e-commerce stuff in another video. We have additional integration information, ASIN, Discog IDs. This is to match it up to the appropriate e-commerce information. So we have a Discogs here, we have our SKU, the vendor ID, so we need to put something in here for the Discogs ID to associate it to a Discogs listing regarding if it's a music related item that goes to Discogs. We have our logs to see when core changes have happened to this item. Then of course we can just submit to update that item. I'm not going to submit anything here for this video though. So like this has been my test item for quite a while, quite some time. Now, whenever we get a new item into our inventory, if you have e-commerce set up, it should automatically start syncing to your e-commerce platforms so that you don't have to actually go in there and make those e-commerce changes yourself. Those channels will just be available. You can go in manually and add new ones if you don't have automation set up, which is in settings, which we'll go over in another video. And we're going to touch real quick on taxonomy. It's still being fleshed out a little bit, and we have a lot of changes coming to departments that might change it even more drastically later on. But for now, the way that it works for taxonomy is, so you can use it to organize and filter your e-commerce platforms, kind of with a custom category if you don't like the department system that we use. So by default, the taxonomy will come with kind of a template using our current department structure, but you can delete and manage that and adjust that to however you want. So you can apply custom pricing rules to taxonomy as well. If we look at this item here, its taxonomy is basically the same across the board as its department, but we could select it, edit taxonomy. You see that it's currently CD. Let's also give it, let's see if we have we'll just say it's that comic book Dark Wars 2, even though it's nowhere near, we're just adding it here so we can see it go. Okay, so then we can see the 3 taxonomy paths on it. So if we're filtering anything by CD, filtering anything by comic book, filtering anything by Dark Horse, that allows us to kind of narrow down the search results a lot more versus searching by an individual department. This helps us break things down even further. And you can, so like we have marketing tags here like Pokemon, you could create a taxonomy for Pokemon and apply that to anything, or Texas music, or any kind of category structure that you want to build a filter for. You can do that using taxonomy. Taxonomy doesn't auto apply to any items though unless you've already applied that taxonomy to it. So this in particular CD, since it has a CD taxonomy to it, any new CDs that we bring in, or sorry, any new music inspired by Pokemon will automatically have that taxonomy. But anything that's already in a music CD department won't automatically get the CD taxonomy. We'll have another video that's specifically managing departments, managing taxonomy, but since we're focusing on the inventory here, where it's really all we're going to cover for that end. Next, we're going to kind of just talk real quick about the catalog versus inventory. So your inventory is the items that you have in stock that you're able to sell directly. It's in your store or in your e-commerce. And the catalog is the list of items that we have that you can import to your inventory. It's also the list of items that when you're doing a trade-in that will allow you to search through to try to find that item and automatically pull it in and keep up with pricing and things like that. There's a search catalog function. We'll go over to here. I'll just type in Pokemon, very broad term, so it's only going to send back so many records so it doesn't explode. And if it has an image, it will display here, and it's just going to tell you some basic information about that item. There's not a way to import it directly from this search catalog page, and this whole catalog area is going to change and be moved. We just haven't gotten to that part yet. So if you want to import something from the catalog to see what the catalog has, the best way to do that right now is actually still on the inventory screen. And so if you have an item that you want to just directly import, let me go back to this catalog real quick and pull an item. I'm just going to grab this UPC here. So this is the parent UPC because there's no SKUs. We don't have any quantity or anything like that. It's just data that we have, and you're able to then import. And let's go back to my inventory. We're just going to scan that in here to add this item. So it's adding this inventory item from the catalog, and this is all the catalog information that we have on it, as well as some of the default stuff that comes with the department that it's in. So the vintage disc games default condition is complete. Default secondary condition is mint sealed. We have the pricing. If you don't like that pricing, you can override it. But if you override that pricing, know that price updates will not affect that item in the future. You can put the cost of this item, what you typically pay for it, if there's a serial number required, and then vendor item. So a vendor item is going to be something that you don't want unique SKUs for. So if you are pulling in like sodas or new items, like a brand new item, it's not a used item, you would do a vendor item, so that way you get a quantity of it every time you add it to the inventory instead of a unique line, a unique SKU. And then the image, if it doesn't already have one, we don't have the ability to import the URLs quite yet. And then any additional details, and we can just submit it, and it'll automatically pull it up. It'll show that we currently have quantity 2, and that's because I added one before this, which is listing itself as new. This was probably some old test data from last year, it looks like. And we got some comments here. Then we can see our comment. Let me go ahead and delete this new one. There we go. If you wanted to adjust any of that catalog data, once you have it in your inventory, you can then manage that catalog data directly. So you can just pull it in real quick and then pull up that data, and then you can adjust it. Once this is loaded, you can go to catalog details, hit the little pencil icon, and you can adjust any information about it. So we can see that there's a vendor that we have called Synampics Corp. I can barely read whatever that first word is. And it costs us $10 at that vendor. And we can sync the inventory, so any of the items that we've already added from that item we can adjust. We'll have this catalog edit system in the actual search catalog at some point once we redo the catalog page itself. We're actually trying to find a way to move the catalog to the inventory screen so that it's all kind of in the same spot. But until then, quickest way to import from the catalog is just through your UPC. If you don't know the UPC, you can search for the item in the catalog, grab the UPC, bring it back over to the inventory, and scan it in. Now, if it doesn't exist in the catalog, or you don't have that department attached, say you want to get into TVs or something like that, and you you don't have any of that information and you just want to put something in, or maybe it's just a bulk item, like here's my bin of $5 CDs. It's not going to matter what they are. I'm not going to monitor the inventory for it. So we're just going to hit custom item, and I'm just going to say bulk CD bin $5.99. Quantity doesn't matter. The UPC is going to be if we want a label to print off to scan that in. This is what we're going to put in for it. So I'm going to say 555 666 777. Department for it is defaulting to miscellaneous because it's a custom item, but you can change that to where it's supposed to actually go. So you can say I've sold this many CDs. And condition doesn't actually directly matter. I think we can say new is the best bet so that it always keeps that 100% of whatever my price is for it. And so we're going to say, so it's always $5.99. Cost, it's 0. It's not something that we're trading in. And quick item. So the quick item will put it on the transaction screen so that you can click the quick item and immediately pull it in if you don't want to scan it. This would also be a good thing for a vendor item so that we don't get skews, and it just focuses on generating quantity. So what's the button? Bulk item test, and then we're just going to submit it. Cool. So then this is the UPC for it. So title bulk CD bin $5.99, cost $5.99. There's no other information that needs to really be applied to it. We have one SKU for it. We can technically scan that SKU if we wanted to, but you don't really have to worry about it if you're doing it this way. So let's go to our transaction real quick. And we can do it two ways. So if we're selling that bulk item, I can click quick items. Let's see. Bulk bin. Okay, so here it is right here. Add that transaction. Okay, looks like it is by the SKU. Let me see if we can do it also by the original UPC that we gave it. Yep, works both ways. So you can do that SKU on that original UPC, and you can pull that in. $5.99 is your price, so I'm going to sell 10 of them. And then run a transaction as you would normally run a transaction. If you need to know how to do transactions, there is a tutorial video on running transactions, so we're going to skip that for now and go back to our inventory. That should be everything for the inventory overview. If you have any specific questions about it, feel free to just click this button on the bottom right. It says found an issue, but you can also ask us a question here and just hit report issue, and that'll send us over an email and we'll answer any questions specifically that we may not have covered in this video, and we'll move on to the next one.